Hello guys. So I'm going to be discussing a ladder problem from the chapter of rotational motion. So let's see what that problem is. So if you are going to read this particular problem, there is a ladder AB. It is resting against a smooth wall and a rough floor. So that's mentioned in the question over here. You see that's a smooth wall and a rough floor. Mass of the ladder is given to be m, and also it is mentioned that ladder is in equilibrium. So if you see over here, it is mentioned in the question ladder is in equilibrium. So if a ladder is in equilibrium, in that case net force on the ladder will be 0, and also net torque. You can take net torque about any point if a rigid body is in equilibrium. So this is an important point to note. If a rigid body is in equilibrium, you can take torque about any point and equate it to 0. So this rigid body, which is a ladder in this case, it is in translational equilibrium as well as it is in rotational equilibrium. So let's just make the free body diagram for the ladder. You have to show all the forces. We will show all the forces on this particular ladder, and we'll apply net force equal to 0 and net torque equal to 0. Okay, so if we show the weight at the center of mass, so mg is acting vertically down. The wall is smooth, so there is just going to be the normal contact force. So I'll denote that with N1. And at B, there will be normal force as well as there will be frictional force. Now, frictional force at point B, we have to decide the direction. In the horizontal direction on the ladder, net force must be 0. Only then it can be in equilibrium. We already have a force N1 to the right, so there must be a force to the left to balance this N1, which will be friction force at point B. So that's how we decide the direction of friction at point B. It has to be towards the left, and this will be static friction because the ladder is in equilibrium. Point B is not moving on the floor, so it will be a static friction force. So we can write in the horizontal direction F must be equal to N1, and in the vertical direction N2 should be equal to mg. Okay, note that you must not write F, this will not be equal to mu times N2, okay, because this F is static in nature. So you do not know whether it has attained the maximum value, so you must not just equate it to mu times N2. So that's the important thing to note in this particular question. So we have two equations as of now. Okay, one equation is F equal to N1, and another equation is N2 equal to mg. But we have like three unknowns. So three unknowns meaning we don't know three forces. So if you look at the diagram, you have N1 which is not known, N2 which is not known, and we have friction force F which is not known. Three unknowns are there. So we need three equations. As of now, we have framed two equations. In net force in the horizontal direction we have balanced, net force in the vertical direction we have balanced. Next is we'll balance torque. You can take torque about any point and balance it if a rigid body is in rotational equilibrium. So a convenient point we can pick. So convenient point would be, if you think it is going to be point B. So if I'm going to take torque about point B, since friction force passes through B, the friction force, and N2, these two forces are passing through point B itself. Well, if you take torque about point B, these two forces will give rise to 0 torque. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take torque about point B, and so I'm going to write torque about point B. So if I write torque about point B, torque of weight. So torque of weight will be mg into perpendicular distance of mg, that is considered the line of action of force. This mg line of action you consider, and from point B we will consider the perpendicular distance, which will be L by 2 cos 30. This angle is 30 degree here. So from trigonometry this length will be L by 2 cos 30. L by 2 is the distance from C to B. Right? Since CB, which is the hypotenuse of that particular triangle, so CB is L by 2, so the perpendicular distance will be L by 2 cos 30, the perpendicular distance over here. Okay, that will be L by 2 cos 30 from trigonometry. So torque of mg about point B is going to be mg into L by 2 cos 30, and this is in the anti-clockwise sense. Torque of mg about point B. Torque of n1 about point B, if we want, we will consider the line of action of n1. So this dotted line over here, that is the line of action of n1. From point B, consider the perpendicular distance. So from point B, the perpendicular distance will be L by L cos 60. So essentially over here, okay, that is L cos 60. So if that is L cos 60, perpendicular distance is going to be L cos 60 now. So torque of n1 about point B, that will be n1 into L cos 60, and n1 into L cos 60, and that torque will be in the clockwise sense. So net torque must be 0 about point B. So anti-clockwise torque and clockwise torque must balance each other. So we will equate both. So if you equate both, you will be able to solve for n1. So L will cancel out on both sides. So we will write mg by 2 into cos 30 will become root 3 by 2 equal to n1 into cos 60 will become half. So 2 gets cancelled on both sides. So n1 will be equal to root 3 mg by 2. So we have got n1 value. N2 value we already have, mg. So friction will also be equal to root 3 mg. Now one more very important point to note in this question. They are asking you to find reaction forces at A and B. So if you look at point A, there is only one force, N1. So reaction force at A is going to be N1 only. But reaction force at point B, you have to be very careful. The reaction force at point B will be resultant of F and N2. Okay, because you have two forces acting at point B, which is coming from the floor. So at point B, we have friction and we have N2. So resulting force at point B will be vector addition of these two. So if you consider the magnitude of that resultant force, okay, that will be root of, so the reaction force at point B will be equal to root of F square plus N2 square. Okay, so you substitute for F2. So F2 is going to be, root of F square plus N2 square. N2 is going to be mg and F is going to be same as N1. So N1 square will become 3 m square g square by 4 plus N2 square will become m square g square. So this will be mg times root of 7 by 4. So that will be the reaction force at point B. Okay, so you'll have to carefully note that particular point. Reaction force at point B, you must not just mark it as N2. Okay, N2 and F both are acting at point B. So the resultant force at point B is what you have to find out. Students generally tend to make that mistake. They will mark it as N2 and leave it. So you have to be careful about that particular point over there.